If you believe in public education and want to support the teachers of our community, join us at Foundation 65's annual My 65 benefit on October 6th. Learn how educators create grants that transform the lives of their students. Visit foundation65.org to learn more and register today.
Welcome to Inside the Skev, and I'm your host, Aaron Maslansky. Today we meet Dorothy Rosen, the co-founder of Women Belong. Women Belong was born out of a vision founders Dorothy Rosen and Kate Alpert had for bringing women together in an authentic way with the mission of advancing business growth through deepening personal relationships. Women Belong reimagines what business networking looks like. They come together and explore business honestly, relationships form, and connections deepen. These relationships create spaces and opportunities for a higher vision of what can collectively be achieved. And this is going to be so interesting to learn about what you're doing. So, Dorothy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Aaron. I'm really excited to be here today.
Well, it's great to be able to speak with you about it. And I think, what you're doing is you're building community. And, I want to get into that and how and why you did it. But, how big of just give us an idea of the organization, how big it is. I mean, how many chapters or things that you've got going on?
We have probably close to 20 circles now. Before the pandemic hit, we had over 30. And what's been interesting for us is that the breadth of the organization has expanded, even though the depth has decreased in some ways, right? Mm-hmm. So we have over 500 members. We have, we're in Puget Sound. We're in Calgary, Canada. We have 2 global circles. We're in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Asheville, North Carolina. And anywhere women are doing business, that's where we want to be.
And why did you start this organization? What led you to this?
Well, there was an election that happened, and we were concerned that how women were being supported in business and being supported out there in the wider communities. And we felt that there was a really strong need for diversity, equity, and inclusion before any of this became popular. That creating a space for where women belong together, that we can change the world. We can come together and really create spaces where all of us are accepted.
I mean, did you have a background in this before?
No. I was participating in a networking group. And my background was in loyalty marketing. I ran from the agency side, the United Mileage Plus program for over 8 years. So my background was in loyalty marketing. I ran large loyalty initiatives and then also became president of an advertising agency and had 4 business units reporting into me, 400 employees. So it was completely different. But what I was realizing was that how was I showing up as a woman in business? How was I being authentic or not authentic? Where did I feel comfortable or not? Where did I feel so that there were all these things that were coming up for me that felt true to be out there.
What was it like as you're talking about this? What are some of the things that you recognized as a woman in business leading, a large multinational corporation and a large division that they have?
The things that I felt were that there were conversations that were being had that I didn't understand, right? Not in terms of the intellectual process of it, but where the emotional side was coming in. How do we treat employees? How do we support our people? How do we think about our clients? There were conversations that were not being had at that level. What was happening was we were talking about profit and loss, EBITDA, all of those different markers that businesses look at, but we weren't talking about satisfaction. We weren't talking about how deeply we were moving things forward and how deeply we were engaging with both our employees and our customers.
Is that something that you think is just because of it's a masculinity type of?
I think that there are 2 different types of values, right? People have defined masculine values and feminine values. We all have a mix of them. As a woman in business, what seems to happen from my perspective is that we take on a lot of masculine values. A lot of women I know will talk about how you're going out on a sales call and the thing you do is you read the USA Today, or back in the day, right? We would read the USA Today sports section, so we knew how to talk to our male counterparts. rather than really talking about the things that mattered and the things that were going on in our lives. So I think that there are some feminine values of being attractive, engaging, and authentic, and just opening, right? Creating opening spaces, nurturing spaces that, when we talk about feminine intuition, a lot of people make fun of it, right? But when we talk about gut instinct, we don't, right? So how do we start to have a dialogue around with words that accept both sides? Because the most successful people in business are those people who really lean into their emotional intelligence, which is primarily on the feminine value scale.
Recently I was watching the movie Big with my kids. Great movie.
Great.
And, I look at it and there's so many things that are stereotypical of that time period, 1980s. And you look at the role of, the woman character, lead character in the film, and how she's relegated within the company, the toy company. Mm-hmm. And she's not taken seriously, and always like a side type of, I think it portrays a lot of the things that women deal with within a corporate environment.
Right. So, men talk oftentimes, what I hear is, I don't understand how women think, right? And we as women are working really hard to understand how men think, especially, and how they operate within the corporate environment. So oftentimes what we're doing is mimicking mm-hmm. the masculine values that we see. And so I think that's we ourselves are putting down and relegating our feminine values to the side. And I really missed that. I missed the woman that I was. I became someone else during mm-hmm. that process. And so reclaiming who I am, reclaiming the fact that I am a bitch, right? And I want to change how people think about that word, right? Because a bitch is a dog who she defends her young. She takes care of those things that she cares about, right?
Yeah.
And so it's been, all of a sudden it's something that's bad. And so I mean, there are a lot of words out there that I'd like to change, and that's one of them. That's the chief one on my list.
That's the chief.
Yeah.
So how did you meet Kate, and what did she bring to the table in order to start this organization?
This is where intuition comes in, right? I met Kate in a networking organization. We were there together, and I knew I wanted to work with this woman. I had no idea what we would be doing, because at that time I was playing in the multi-level marketing space because I thought it was so interesting, and I was just kind of checking out what was going on there. And so Kate thought I was this network marketing person and had no idea of my marketing background. And we got together for a one-on-one, and we were chatting, and we started liking each other, right? And started talking and sharing stuff. And then I don't know how it happened, but we just sat there one day, and we were in a meeting, and I just said, I don't want to be part of this one organization. And she looked at me and, like, with her eyes big as saucers, like, what the hell just happened? Dorothy's walking away. I was leading this group, and we went out for coffee, and I said, let's do this together. I mean, we had never really visited each other's homes. We didn't know each other's spouses. We didn't do any vetting. We didn't do anything. And 5.5 years later, we are the strongest partnership. We talk every day. If there's something that's bothering one of us, we talk about it. Her background was in small agency marketing, in the digital space, web development, that sort of thing. And so we had the similarity of the marketing background. But there's just a knowingness that comes when you meet that person that you are meant to do business with. And that's what it felt like.
That's amazing that you guys were able to find each other there. I mean, what was so wrong about the previous organization that you were at? That was it just not getting what you needed?
Our values were not aligned. Okay. Basically, yeah. I mean, as I said, the forefront of our organization, our belief system includes diversity, equity, and inclusion. We believe in growth. We believe in leadership. We believe in supporting other women, and that's where we were coming from.
So you decide to start the company. You start to have meetings. I mean, how did it start? Who started to come to be a part of it?
So we had coffee on February 8th, 2017. Mid-March, Kate and I had our business papers. April 1st, we launched our first circle with 12 women who were in the other organization who decided to join us. And very quickly, it just started to grow. And I have to tell you, Kate was still working at her agency at the time. And she kept saying every day, this isn't going to work. This isn't a business. I don't know what we're doing here. And 5.5 years later, she says the same thing almost every day. But this woman is so amazing. She has her technical abilities. She's really driven the technology side of our business. I mean, we're only 2 women. We have over 500 members that we're dealing with every day, right? We're designing new systems. We are coming up with new programs. We have monthly programs where there's like a lunch and learn, so that, right, we're curating all of that. When COVID happened, we went from 50 meetings a month in person, which I only went to 4 a month, to 50 meetings a month on Zoom, which I curated every one of those for a couple of years. So it's really the fact that the 2 of us handle all of the membership, all of the back end. I mean, it's really remarkable.
It's only the 2 of you? There's no other employees?
It's only 2 of us.
Wow.
Right, yeah, and we make it all happen. And we're not exhausted. This is a lifestyle business, too, for both of us. She has a young son that she goes to baseball games with. We're paying attention to those things that we think are really important. When Women Belong started, my husband was 2 years into his final journey and went through a lot of stuff, right? And so for the first 2.5 years of our business, we were really, I was sitting there with a lot of issues, right?
Oh, yeah.
Trying to be and getting supported by Kate and every one of those women in the groups, in the circles. And I mean, here we are. I took time that I needed for whatever Steve needed to have done and support him and be the warrior standing next to him. Yeah, I mean, we're there understanding that women are affected personally, right? Mm-hmm. And that affects us how we are professionally. How do we show up? How do we support our families? How do we support those we love at the same time?
It's so important to have that support network.
It is unbelievable. And when you're in corporate, right? When you're in corporate, one of the things that you lose is you don't have a support network, especially when you're at the top of your game.
Yeah.
Who are your peers? Who are the people who are really you're going to talk to about all this stuff that's going on? You don't have time. You don't have develop. At least I didn't. I should say I didn't have time to develop all these deep, ongoing relationships. My friends were a handful of people who helped me through stuff, but this organization really understands that people go through shit and they need to be supported. However, they need to be supported, and that it's not us to presume what that support looks like. They're going to tell us. And, I think it's amazing, frankly.
Let's take a quick break to hear from our supporters. When it comes to home warranties, getting the best contractor can be tough. That is because traditional companies limit your choices. Achosa Home Warranty has the answer. Achosa Home Warranty believes that homeowners should be empowered to choose their own licensed technician for each repair or replacement project. When you select Achosa, you're ensured to prompt, reliable work to restore your home. As one of the country's leading home warranty companies, Achosa has set the industry standard for their positive customer claims process and performance. Reach out to Kim Bazillion at 847-975-6706 and mention Skev50 for $50 off their Advantage or Advantage Plus plans. They look forward to protecting your budgets against costly repairs or replacements.
Moving day is a happy day, but how can you be sure all of your stuff will get to the new place in the same condition they left the old place? Upgrade your experience to First Class Moving and Storage. You'll get a team of professionals who treat all of your belongings with care and have the right tools to make the job go smoothly. They even offer a full packing service. Upgrade to First Class Moving and Storage. They're local and independently owned. For more info, visit the website at firstclassmovers.com. That's the number one, stclassmovers.com.
And it sounds a lot different than some of these other networking groups that are strictly for business. I mean, tell us, like, what's a typical meeting? What is there? Do people bring referrals to each other? How does that all work? What do you call it?
Right, what do we call it all?
Yeah.
Well, what's so interesting is that we were trying to come up with all these different names for different things, right? Because so many of the names and the words that we use have a real masculine flavor to them. So, for example, circle feels much more feminine. Well, then what do you call the leadership? Director? No. Manager? No, right? So Kate in her brilliance said, well, we have circles, so we have a diameter, we have a radius, and we have a point. So each circle has a leadership team of 3. The agenda, we have a set agenda for every meeting, and every single circle follows that agenda. However, every single circle is different. It depends upon the people who are in the circle, their personalities, what they bring, their interest levels, their curiosity levels, all of that changes. But the agenda is very simple. It's the first 15 minutes are networking, next 15 minutes we talk about a quote. The quote is picked out, and it's like the same quote is discussed on a weekly basis. That same quote is by every circle. So, and it's all based on a theme, right? So, for example, September's is potential. October is legacy. So every single quote has got a theme to it. And there's open conversation, really to get us to be thinking, to be curious, to hear what other people are saying, to build upon what other people are saying, or to say, wow, I looked at that quote, I never thought about it that way, right? And then people bring in just their life references, and it's all talking about from their heart. It's not talking about well, this is what it means in my business. No, we're talking about as an individual. So we get to know you, who you are.
Yeah.
Right? It's all relationship building. And then the next thing we talk about is introductions, where people anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, they'll give their introductions depending upon the size of the group. We teach, what we're doing there is teaching women to tell their story succinctly and clearly and timed, and that they don't go over the time. I always say, if you go over your time, everybody thinks you're an asshole because they want to talk, right? And so don't be the asshole that does that. Stick the landing. And so we really want to have people paying attention to how much they're speaking and how much they're listening. And then we have the next thing is business stuff, and then we go into the meeting where somebody will be either doing a workshop or they'll be doing their spotlight, which is educational in value. It's not an advertisement for their business, but it's really, how can I teach you? For example, a mortgage lender may talk to you about how to raise your credit score. A realtor may talk about how to think about the market and what you should be thinking about in terms of second properties and investments, or how to stage your home for sale or whatever. Feng Shui, we have a Feng Shui expert. She talks about how, the different aspects of Feng Shuiing your home and the different areas within your home. So it's really the poet. We have a poet, and she would talk about, share how to develop a poem for yourself.
Let me ask you, how does a poet get business in a group like this?
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
And can I tell you, Aaron, I loved it when we had a poet, a professional wrestler, and a professional pole dancer all at the same time. Not in the same circle, but I thought the alliteration is perfect, right? Because I think about that Venn diagram. When Sin walked into the meeting and she said she was a poet, my thought was, how the heck do we support this woman? How do we give her business? And then she read her poem. And all the lights went on, right? Because we were like, oh my God, this woman has such a gift. And I was probably one of the first people to say, I want you to write a poem for my husband, right?
Oh, wow.
So she writes special for anniversaries or other events, she'll write a poem. Introduced her to the continuing care facilities, right? Where people, like, what do you give somebody who's 90 years old, right? This is a perfect gift to give somebody, that you're really like having a personalized poem for you. It's really amazing.
That is beautiful.
Right?
Yeah.
So thinking about it organically, and that's the thing that I think we do as women really well, is that we're always thinking, well, oh, maybe there's a way for us to collaborate differently. She collaborated with a photographer in our group, and they did a book that was beautiful on women and skin. And it was just absolutely a beautiful book that they produced together. So there are all sorts of different ways to collaborate. Sin, the poet, also collaborated with a nutrition health coach. Right? How does that work?
How does that work?
Right?
Yeah.
Well, because they're talking about journaling. How do we talk about journaling differently? How do we think about it differently? How do we think about writing and sharing our thoughts differently? It works.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I don't think that a poet would be somebody who would automatically think to go to a business networking type of organization. So it just has a different feel to it. How big are the circles?
They max at 22. And the reason we do that is because they're conceptually 24 meetings a year, twice a month. So it might be the first and third Wednesday of the month, second and fourth Wednesday of the month, whatever. And so 22 is where we max out, because we figure there's some holidays in there.
And do they meet in person now, or are they still doing over Zoom?
Both. We're doing both. So some of the circles are moving towards in person. Some are already in person, but the majority still are on Zoom. There's a convenience factor. There's a comfort factor. And because of COVID, some of the people who have joined the circles are not quite as adjacent locally as they would have been in the past.
But you have people. Do you have circles in Skokie and Evanston that people who are part of those communities?
We have one in Evanston. We used to have one in Skokie that then became Glenview, and now is being called Glenbrook, because they're meeting at I think Max and Benny's or Jasper's. It's one of those, right?
Yeah.
So it's all over the place. Yeah.
So, some of these groups you go to, and there's a lot of pressure to bring a referral. And, I've gone to some of these things, and I decided to, I'm involved in different organizations, but not like a specific business type of environment, because I think there could be a lot of pressure. And, I was doing that where I was working for a moving company, so I was kind of at the end of the food chain.
Right.
But how does it work with you?
Well, can I ask you how you felt when you had to bring in those referrals?
High pressure.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel comfortable, so I didn't go again.
Yeah.
Because I could just see the handwriting on the wall.
Right, because it's like you're going to be pushing me, and I'm going to be made to feel less than, or not, like I'm not performing, right? And so we look at the referral process much more broadly. So we see it as all has to do with relationship building. So, for example, if you and I were in a circle and we were meeting and we did a one-on-one, and you talk about your business and I talk about my business, we both mark it down as a referral. Why? Because the more I know about you and your business and how you think about business and the relationship we build, the next time I hear someone talking about, hey, I need a realtor, I'm like, oh, you need to talk to Aaron, right? So, because I know you. The line, you do business with people you know, like, and trust, right? So the deeper the relationship. So that we count that as referral. If two of our members decide to collaborate, so for example, the nutrition health coach and the poet coming together, and they're collaborating with a workshop, that's a referral. You're bringing different people in to introduce to each other. That's cool. If I'm at a party and somebody mentions that they want to have a market assessment done, and I'm like, well, you should call Aaron. I count that as a referral, even if I haven't given them your name, all of your information right then. I haven't done the hookup. I haven't done, I haven't handed out the card. I haven't done all of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's still, right? And then if I share your thought leadership, so let's say you write a blog post or a Facebook post or a LinkedIn post or whatever, and I share it to my audience, that's a referral, because I'm exposing you to all of those people, and I'm edifying you to all of those people right out there. So it's not only sales, but it's also marketing that we are supporting here, right? So,
well, that's a really interesting thought about sharing the posts, because I've been involved in different organizations, committees, and things like that, and people are always trying to encourage, okay, we got to share this event. Please share it on your your pages, or share it directly to people, your colleagues, and it's hard to get people to go and do that, because sometimes they forget, or there's just not a strong motivation to go ahead and do that, which I don't really get, because if you're on the committee for something, like, you should be supporting it full. You're there for a reason.
Yeah.
But here, that's just another way to support your circle, support your community. It's we lift each other up when everyone's helping each other by doing something, even small. You don't know where that can lead an opportunity for somebody and how that makes them feel.
Right, exactly. And it's the same thing for us with guests. For example, I went and visited another organization. This is years ago. And I remember that I was told, you know what, if you join $1,000 a year, I'm going to give you I have 3 referrals for you. Screw that.
So they're holding you hostage.
They're holding you, right. And I'm like, give our guests as many referrals as you can. Whether they join the circle or not, or join Women Belong or not, in many ways I don't care, right?
Yeah.
I don't care, because I know that we're doing the right thing for that individual. And on the other side, of course I care. I want them to be part of the organization, but I want them to be there because they want to be, not because they're feeling like they are being forced.
Right.
I want them to be there because they're getting emotionally supported. They're getting personally supported. They're getting professionally supported. All of those things are coming together to support them. And that they see this as so different than anything else that they're involved in. That's the reason why we're in Chattanooga. That's the reason why we're in Puget Sound. That's the reason why we're in Nashville and San Francisco, because there are women who were part of the organization here who moved during the pandemic, or some of them before, and they were like, there's nothing like this here.
And then they start up a chapter. I mean,
Yeah.
How does that work, though? I mean, is there an incentive for them to start up another chapter?
No.
They just want to do it.
They want to do it because they know what it has done for them. And we don't want any of our leaders to be doing it alone. So we insist that every circle starts with three members, 3 leaders. Because I want to teach women how to be collaborative, how to be team building, how not to feel as, women have this thing, I think, many women, me, right? Control freak, right? Until I learned that there's no such thing as control. But if something's not being done, I need to do it, and I need to do it the right way, right? That's a lot of the mindset, I think, out there for women. And so one of the things I want to do is make sure that women understand that they can rely on other women to do things.
Yeah.
And that they can delegate. And if they can't delegate and they can't, then how do we have those conversations, those tough conversations? Because this is sort of like a sandbox, I think, at times, Women Belong. A sandbox for how do you work with people that are, sometimes they're difficult people, right? How do you work with people who have different thoughts than you do? How do you work with, how do we make sure that we're being exposed to all of this so that we can work through it as humans, and rather than be divisive and hurtful, right? And if I don't tell you the truth, Aaron, then I am denying you the opportunity of growth, because I'm doing it with goodwill, right?
Right.
None of this is critical feedback or criticism. It's just feedback.
And it's feedback to help somebody. It's not like you're in high school and everyone's fighting with each other and there's the mean girls and
right. Yeah. It's really about, because I know that if I'm having I want don't want to use the word issue, but if I'm having a conflict or if I'm having an ooch
Yeah.
with somebody, that probably happens to them with other people as well. I'm not the only person that happens with. So how do we work through it? How do we talk about it? How do we share what's going on?
And that helps grow. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's important. And then because they can see that they can be vulnerable with each other, you feel like you belong.
Right.
Which goes back to the name.
The authentic, right? And if people don't cry during a meeting and swear during a meeting, we haven't had a good meeting, right?
Yeah. I mean, even Kate in the video on your website is swearing.
Yeah.
So
We always friggin' do. Yeah, it is part of, actually the Edgewater Circle, which was our first circle, there used to be an F-bomb chair, and she would count the number of F-bombs that were dropped, and then we set the number of referrals that needed to be done by the next meeting based on the number of F-bombs dropped.
Well, but you talked about the word bitch before, but
Yeah.
what are you trying to get out with saying cuss words? I mean, is it just to be able to express yourself freely?
That's a really good word, a good question. I think that it has to do with, they say that swearing is a sign of intelligence and creativity. And I think it's just it's a shock value. It's just like how Tony Robbins uses it too, right? It's when sometimes we use these words to say we are open, we are free, we are authentic, we're showing up, and we're not cloaked in the niceties of that we've learned. How we're not wearing a painted face all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's your authentic self.
It is my authentic self, right? Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was talking to my kids. They're almost 10 and 12. And my wife and I were asking, like, do people swear at school? They're like, oh, yeah, this person and that person.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you guys ever? Sometimes.
Yeah.
It's funny to see, like, how it comes about. And I think it's just a natural part of dialect.
Right. I don't know when I started to swear so much. I really don't. I thought that I was really good when the kids were growing up. My daughter would say shiitake mushrooms instead of shit. But at some point I heard my son talking to somebody and saying, well, my mom, she swears. I'm like, oh, I do? But it's part of business and it's part of life.
Yeah. And it gets it out. I think that's really good. So the organization, you're growing. I think you're across the country. You could be anywhere in the world right now. You're global.
We've got 2 members in Spain right now. So
wow.
One in Barcelona, the other in Valencia. So I talked to a woman the other day who showed up at one of our events from Lithuania. I mean, really, like, how does that happen?
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's great that it's growing. I mean, is it expensive to join? I mean, what are the costs and how do you?
I don't think so. So to be a digital-only member, that means that you're not part of a circle, but you're part of the organization overall. It's $100 a year.
Oh, that's not bad.
Right? And each one of these has a $50 application fee, so it's nothing, right?
Yeah.
$350 a year to be a member of a circle.
Okay.
And $500 a year to be something that we call a core member, which is you're part of a circle, you just get more benefits. For example, on our website, we have a blog post. So each member of a circle can write a blog post and have it posted on their website. So we have this one is the outlier, right? We have a dentist who posted her blog post. This was at the beginning. And she has probably over 8,000 views of that the blog post.
Wow.
Right? And so a core member gets 4 of those a year, and then we promote them 4 times. So that's a lot of marketing.
Yeah, it's a great benefit.
It's a huge benefit.
And there's people, I mean, we talked about poets and wrestlers, but you have people who are realtors, attorneys, lenders, dentists, doctors. I mean, who else would?
Real estate. We have attorneys, a lot of attorneys, real estate, divorce attorneys, or family law attorneys, estate planning attorneys. We've got massage therapists. We've got chiropractors. We have the more diverse it is, the better. right? We have people who are involved in the MLMs, right? Love those members.
What are MLMs?
Multi-level marketing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. Love them because those women are dedicated to meeting new people, and they want to provide value. And so, I mean, the MLM industry has, I think, a bad rap, but overall, these women are really hardworking, trying to expand their businesses. So there are people who are in jewelry, people who are in food, nutrition, health coaches, life coaches, executive coaches. We have doulas. We have home inspection, right? Construction.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And you don't find too many women home inspectors.
Right.
And so I'm sure that they feel that they're a tiny part of the industry, but that should change.
Well, and Kristen is, she's amazing. She's been an amazing member, right? I mean, I love to edify our members. And this woman, one of the things she did was she really took advantage of Women Belong by reaching out to every realtor. And she credits the expansion of the business because of Women Belong.
Wow.
Can I say, that is wow. That is why we do this every day. This is a passion business, right? Totally passionate about helping women grow their businesses. I mean, I have the best job in the world. Seriously.
You really do.
I really, really
You're
do.
helping just create massive networks of people and helping them enhance what they're doing and really just get that just a full education on how to just be a better professional and person.
Yeah, it's, I sometimes feel like my job title should be fairy godmother because that really is how it feels to me, and I feel very blessed to be able to do this, really, and to be surrounded by women who they help me grow. They have a bigger vision for Kate and I than we have for ourselves.
Yeah.
And that is, and we have that vision for them.
That's really incredible. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If people want to find out more, where should they go?
Womenbelong.com.
And you're on social everywhere too?
We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn. Find me on LinkedIn. Kate, you'll find on every other one of those platforms. Yeah, that's what makes our partnership great,
You both have strengths to play on.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, I think I learned quite a bit. I think what you're doing is great. I wish you had a version for men too, because I think that would be beneficial. But I think what you offer is something that is sorely needed, and I think you've hit a chord.
Thank you. Well, Mankind Project, right? We talked about.
We talked about that a little bit off air.
Yeah. So I think that there's so much support for all of us out there, and we just need to find those people who are there for us, right?
Yeah, we do. That's key, and I'm glad that I was able to meet you.
I'm really glad that I had an opportunity to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me, and thanks everyone for listening. Hi, I'm Aaron Masliansky, longtime Skokie and Evanston resident, host of Inside the Skev, and local real estate expert. As a community connector and realtor with Dreamtown Realty in downtown Evanston, I know firsthand what makes the Skev such an amazing place to live. When I'm helping my clients buy and sell properties inside of the Skev or out, I'm doing it with the best technology and support team behind me at Dreamtown. During the pandemic, I've been able to help my clients seamlessly stay on track with their home search. From immersive 3D Matterport tours, professional photos, to virtual open houses, my clients can find their homes safely and comfortably, and even from their couch. When you're ready to make a move, know that I'll be here to help. You can always find out more about me at skevinston.com/real estate. Again, that's skevinston.com/real estate, or email me at aaron@skevinston.com.